Here we are at the Aquarium Co-op workshop. Today we're building a cedar top, like banquet table. This will be where you'll see the real fish talk nonsense come from. The onset of this project began by sourcing some 2-inch by 12-inch dimensional cedar that was actually local. We wanted to go with cedar because of, well, first of all, the delicious smell and the delicious appearance. That question has come up a fair bit in why did we do the tabletop with cedar? Well, we're from the Pacific Northwest. We really dig the look and feel of cedar and whatnot, and so we decided to go that route, and I think it came together pretty darn well. As you can see here, actually drilled out pocket holes for on either side of every board, and then used bar clamps and a hearty amount of wood glue, and then a whole lot of screws going in to keep this thing all together. And overall, I think it came out quite well. It didn't necessarily come out perfect, which I think was kind of the idea, to go, hey, this is a handmade thing that we actually made on site. And overall, I think it actually does the job of what it needs to do. I think we kind of maybe overbuilt it a little bit. You could pretty readily just set a car on this thing if you wanted to. But, you know, being guys that build aquarium stands and stuff like that all the time, we kind of overbuilt for weight anyhow, regardless of that fact. As you can see, there's actually 2 tables that were built. There's a leaf that joins up with this table in order, if we have extra people on the Real Fish Talk in the studios there, we can actually join that in and do an even bigger table. As everything was joined and dried, it came together pretty well. And I can't really complain too much, other than wearing my my super sweet garbage bag outfit while I do the sanding. And people have asked me, like, hey man, why do you use a garbage bag? And well, here's the deal. Garbage bag costs about 25 cents. A fancy outfit to keep sawdust off you costs, I don't know, at least 10 bucks, right? And the garbage bag can then be used for garbage and thrown away, which was going to be its purpose anyhow. So I definitely cover myself up when I'm doing heavy sanding like this and spending a lot of time getting coated in sawdust, real fine sawdust and stuff like that. It doesn't necessarily brush off easily, and you can spend all day just kind of itching and scratching like you were hanging out in a attic insulation all day or something along those lines. So, but the initial sanding was with a circular sander, right? And started out at 100 grit. Then moved down to 150, down to 220, and then just using the palm sander, the straight palm sander, and a little bit of hand sanding at the end. I don't know what happened to the portion of the video where I was routering out the edges, but the edges are routed nice and smooth, and overall pretty happy with how everything came out. The top on it is actually a 2-part epoxy pour, and I wanted to get a little bit of the video out to you guys to give you a little look into how the top came out. So nice and so clear. It's one of those things that, you know, we spent the extra $100 to do the epoxy top, and then we had to get some more actually after that. So it was about $150 to do the top altogether, and I'm way overestimating how much the epoxy actually was, just in case anybody out there goes to buy some and they're like, oh man, he said it would be $70. Well, the high side would be $150 if you have to buy a bunch. Although I did find some on Amazon that actually was like, I noticed the other day it was about $70 for you know, a total gallon of this. So it was like 2 half-gallon bottles. You're definitely going to have to spend a lot of time mixing it together. The biggest mistake that most people make is improperly mixing the 2-part epoxy. Definitely follow the instructions, put it together the way they say, and gently stir it for the amount of time that they say. One of the quick pointers out there is that you can see here, I'm on my cell phone. It's because I'm watching the timer. I'm actually watching the timer to make sure that I'm stirring it properly and going through. And then you let it set for a little bit of time. And one of the easiest things to double check is if you do have a laser thermometer, you can double check the temperature is going to be the biggest thing. As it chemically reacts, it will come up to a specific temperature from the manufacturer, and that's a real way to double check and make sure that you have it mixed properly and the right amounts. But be sure to, you know, measure twice and make sure that you're doing this properly, because it is kind of a one-time thing, and you don't get to really go back and necessarily redo it without doing another coat on top, which actually this took 2 coats, and it will eventually get a 3rd coat on it also. This first coat came out really nice, but we need to do a little bit extra on the edges and those kinds of things, and with some spot fill areas, because of the cedar is so porous. It actually did pull quite a bit of the material, especially where the knots are and stuff like that. Even though I did tape them from the bottom, they still it still drew in a lot of the epoxy. So one more coat on there, which we do have the epoxy already. One more coat will really do the trick. But I think it does stand out, especially on camera. I'm pretty well satisfied with how this came out. It definitely was a fun project, that's for sure. Obviously, it's a lot of work, but I feel like this was definitely the fun part, is being able to do this epoxy and stuff like that. I think everybody knows that I spend a lot of time painting and things, and when you get a chance to do a big pour like this, it's a lot of fun. Overall, the table came out. It's just a little over 8 feet in length, 4 feet in width. And then we just had a little closing piece here to give you guys an idea of all the painting and getting everything ready for the Real Fish Talk and all the podcasts and episodes and stuff coming out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little kind of a walkthrough video, I guess, or maybe just like a highlight reel of the things that we worked on. But I'm glad to see Maboo Studios getting finished up and coming right along, and definitely coming all together into something that we were really hoping that it would come out to. It definitely is coming together. And so if you'd like to check out the Real Fish Talk, it is 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on Tuesdays, and you definitely check that out if you get an opportunity. If not, head over to the Aquarium Co-op channel, and you'll definitely see a lot of videos there. And yeah, I'll talk to you all later. Later.